Very hairy out here.
It is, isn't it?
Terribly so.
And it's getting hairier and hairier.
I'm
Oh,
retracting. I'm going.
and look, you can see. I don't want them to
Hey,
see.
Ruby Rose is back.
Hey,
Oh,
Hey,
Ruby Rose.
I
Plus,
know.
you're
I
our
know.
original missionary
Yes, I am a missionary.
in the Midwest. Wow.
It's true.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
We have another person, though.
I know. I heard that. I listened to everything. It's just I've been
Yeah.
busy and
There's such a select few. Yes, Kansas. For sure.
they love it. They love it at the meetings.
Oh,
They
great.
love it.
Wow, that's good.
It's really been welcomed well because I'm I just don't deviate from it. It'll come up and I'm like, no, I don't believe. No.
Well, the truth is the truth.
And I always like that Paul reiterates that more will be revealed, or why would we wouldn't be interested?
I think that's in the big book too.
Oh, it's all in there, and so you take them there to it, right? They're like, oh, and because I'm like the one, we're being driven.
Yeah.
It doesn't say we're the driver. I've
No.
never had the wheel.
No.
And
You've
then
been under
yesterday,
the wheel.
yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I used your hose analogy, and they loved that. That were,
For
I said,
someone unfamiliar,
I said,
really
the water has never claimed to be a hose. So
Yeah, yes.
it's wonderful.
Well, great. I'm happy it's being heard in Kansas.
It is. And
Fantastic.
people that come to our meeting from all over, all over the states, because there's a lot of airline and industry here where they have conferences, so they come to our meetings a lot.
Oh,
And
wow.
they're like, they say they've never been anywhere where it's like this. So I just wanted to let you know that it's working.
Oh, yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah. I have faith in it. Don't worry.
Oh, me too.
That sounds like a good theme for today.
Steve, do you have a question? Your hand's up.
Just a quick bit of gratitude. Hey, Paul, I was listening, the other day, you mentioned when you were in the meeting and noticing everybody else having your thoughts and the recognition they weren't your thoughts. I can't tell you how many times I've heard say that. I've read books on that and all that stuff. And that just the other day, I was just like, oh, okay. And suddenly like pounds of weight just went away, just in the recognition. Oh, that's not my thought. That's not my thought. And it's just so simple to really understand what it's not, So thank you.
Great, great. Yeah. That's why, in recovery, they say don't leave before the miracle. Well, in a sense, the stuff sinks in, and then you'll know the tree by its fruit. Yes. You can't see the tree. Yeah, but you can know it by its fruits. So you'll recognize something, and then that will intimate in a very sort of tactile way the higher power and the feeling of what it's like to be moved by something other than the head. Yeah. Yeah. They're very distinctly different. Yeah. Yeah. Like some cars, you go in 50 miles per hour, and then another car going 50 miles per hour. One car, 50 miles per hour, you're out of control. Another car with the right driver, it's pretty relaxed and you can look out the window. Yeah, this is the difference between the drivers. Any life run on self-will is hardly going to be a success. That's right out of the book. Yeah. We've come to a conclusion, well earned, that any life run on self-will will hardly be a success. There you go. I mean, you can't have it, you can't pack in more into one sentence than that. Yeah. So the frustration of trying to be free as self finally produces an incredible value when you see you're not that which you're trying to be free as. And then you suddenly have the ability and the possibility of being free from it. And so it is for the day. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a big deal because a lot of, there's ways we think and there's ways we understand. They're like grooves. Yeah. And those grooves can obviously only understand by the parameters of the groove. And we get fixed ideas and, like they say, old ideas and old thoughts, and the results will be nil unless they're let go. Absolutely. Where do you let go of those thoughts? Not on the thought, but the thinker. Yeah. Are you going to go over every old thought or just go over the old thinker? Yeah. And if you lose interest in the thinker, you're going to lose interest in the thoughts. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a simple recognition of how things move. Yeah. And in that pattern of how they move, you'll start seeing, just like in the program, when you do the inventory, at least from in the community I grew up in, they would talk about look for the patterns, of how self defeats you. There's patterns to it. And then a lot of times everyone wants to emphasize the particulars, but you miss the forest from the trees in a way. And so how I was introduced to it by my second sponsor was to look at the patterns of how the head has defeated you. And where you see its manifestations, that's what it takes to be important. So like saving my face instead of my ass, that was selfing. Selfing had a pride and wanted to save its face at the expense of the ass. So he would talk to me, well, if you have a lot of resentments around this topic, let's say how people view you or how you think people view you, there's selfing, there's self right there. It's like what's casting the shadow is the self, the selfing. Now, how it casts or how it looks like is a resentment or anxiety or willing to step on people's toes to get what you want and all that stuff that we look at. And then you see the patterns. And remember, if you ever got introduced to Joe and Charlie, they'd have these formats of the fourth step, the 4-column inventory. And one year they had self on top of it. So they had the 4-column inventory about the instinctual agenda and how to get it and whatever. And they had self running the show. Yeah. And any life run and then look at the underlying instincts that are attempting to be met and gotten and everything like that. And then look above at what's running it. It gets caught with any life run on self can hardly be a success on self-will. And then you look at the instinctual agenda and how your head tried to meet that and what meaning it gave to the agenda. And then you see the patterns of the defeat. And by seeing the patterns of the defeat, you get a sense of the tree, so to speak. Yeah. So I noticed when I did that, where all the fear was concerning what mostly. Yeah. And then the resentments, it's sort of like, a certain animal when it's walking around, a predator walking around the prey, it shits all over it. So those shits would be the manifestation of self. And then you can see the predator. Yeah. Even though the predator's disappeared, you can't see it. You see it or it was there by its fucking poop, so to speak. So this is why we do an inventory, so we can recognize what has defeated us before the defeat. Yeah. Before it, not after it. After it is just like the difference between an alcoholic and a recovered alcoholic. The recovered alcoholic calls you before they drink. The alcoholic calls you after they drink. Yeah. And when you get called after the person drinks, the possibilities are severely limited. You got to go to a meeting, or maybe you should think about a rehab, or, can somebody, take you, whatever. I mean, it shrinks to almost like to a sphincter point. Yeah. And uh, by seeing that which has defeated us and how it defeats us, and by the grace of this power, we may be able to avoid those defeats. Yes. And in that avoidance, we become an example to others of how this freaking works. Yes. And therefore, we're fulfilling the agenda of being of maximum use, because we're not. How many people get disappointed when there was a very charismatic guy or woman, and they have a lot of sponsees and everything, and then suddenly you hear they went out? Yes. Yeah. And the whole thing is like, what the fuck? Or, I had a sponsor, and my sponsor went out. It's a little bit of shaky ground. So for us to be a maximum use isn't how we see it. It's how what's driving us sees it. Yeah. So, yeah. You want to start, or whatever? We've started already. But let's look at the inventory process then. The simple working steps after the decision is made to turn our will and life over to the care. Now, the care is a very important word. A lot of people forget that, and they say, I'm turning my will and life over to God or whatever. But it's really to the care of God. Like when my family put my mother into a senior citizen place, a nursing home, we did not surrender her to the home. We put her under the nursing home's care. Yeah. If the nursing home didn't do the job, we would have pulled her out of the nursing home's care. Yeah. So this is a very important way, because the faith in the program knows it's going to work. So if you make this decision and you turn your will over to the care of a higher power, the program and the people that have come before us knew it worked. They didn't need to rely on, all right, the door gets shut and you can never leave. No, you can leave anytime you want. Yeah. But because we know it works, if you just do what we do and try to stay physically sober a day at a time, this program works. Yeah. Maybe it only works for a day in your life, but you've drunk every day for 20 years, and one day you go to a couple of meetings, and at that day you do not drink. And then for others, it's 37 years or 40 years. Yeah. But the principle's the same. It works. Yeah. How long it's going to work is based on our spiritual condition. At least that's what they say in the book. And if that's the case, if you find that you're not a mental condition, you're going to what's going to be revealed is that you are a spiritual condition. And being a spiritual condition, to me, is the highest form of maintenance of the spiritual condition, is being aware that you're of spirit. It's just obviously. And it's not like I got to go to the gym every day. And if I miss the day of gym, I'm on the lookout of getting fucked or something. No. The spiritual condition produces a disarming actually in you. And you rest assured that you're in good hands. I mean, unbelievable. So if we want, let's just do the beginning of on page 60. I'm just going to go off on this today. On page 60, the three pertinent ideas that they tell after they go over the 12 steps. And the first one is that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. That probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. That is amazing. If you look at it from afar, that statement is an amazing statement because there is a huge amount of relying on human power. Yes, mostly our own. And they're just declaring it as a pertinent idea in this program to have this attitude, or at least arrive there, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. Incredible statement, really. And you fall under the category of human power, yes? Yeah. And then that C, that God could and would if he were sought. There's not even the stress of finding. Yeah. If you have a little bit of willingness, just like now in not that much anymore last few years, but at a certain period of my time in AA, I would get calls to like help somebody at 1 a.m, and I'd be willing to go, and they'd always call me back and say, "Oh no, we took care of it." But I got the credibility by the willingness. I wasn't being called to any length, but I was willing to go to any length. Yes, this is the key, I feel. So the problem, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And then that there is a power, they say that God could and would if he were sought. I would say I like the more vagueness of a higher power. Yeah. And basically, all you need to do is turn your face to the sun. You don't have to reach the sun. The sun's going to touch you. All you got to do is turn around and look at the sun, and then the sun's going to touch you. It's going to warm you. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. And then just don't change that posture if you possibly can, especially the basic of drinking or not drinking. And basically, you'll get into the habit of being turned towards the sun. Yeah. And how you look at things is going to be changed completely because of the direction you're looking from now. You're now being directed by something that has wisdom. Doesn't say it has wisdom, it has wisdom, and it does, and it proves it, yeah, when you follow it. And now you're in a good, orderly direction. And now the the change that you're going through is directed so it's growth, not just change for change's sake, but it actually growth. It has a point and it's directing you somewhere to be of what? Of maximum use. Yeah. And it will tell you. You won't have to say, I know I'm in maximum use. No, you don't. You just put yourself into the system and you'll be used. Yeah. So the three pertinent ideas, and then it starts the bottom on 60, being convinced. Now we know that's an important condition in recovery. Yes. There's movements in recovery, almost like waves or like a set of waves that come, and usually they're triggered by being convinced. It's important. And it means one definition is to believe with certainty. Yeah. But to believe with certainty that you're fucked is the importance. Yeah. And that something can do for you what you can't do for yourself. Something that cannot be construed as human power can do for you what you can't do for yourself with human power. Yeah. Being convinced, we were at step 3, which is that we decided to turn our will and our life over to God as we understood him. Why can't we turn it over? Because it's co-opted by a parasitical movement. Alcoholism has you. You don't have alcoholism. It's the other way around. Alcoholism has you for all intents and purposes. Yes, seriously. Yeah. The language is so insane. I have alcoholism. Yeah, no, I would say alcoholism has us. It's directing us. So the best we can do is make a decision to turn our will over to the care of something else because it's under the care of something else already. That's not treating us that well. So we're going to make a decision. And then what happens? We launch into action. And the first action is the introductory inventory. If you want to do a more in-depth inventory, they describe it in the 12 and 12. If you want to ask a lot more questions, but in this inventory, the clarity that we're attempting to find is what has defeated us. Yeah. And we do that by looking at its common manifestations that have been used to defeat us. Very simple inventory. We're going to write down a list of some of the common manifestations of what has defeated us, which is named self. Yeah. So it's self's manifestations we're going to look at, not our manifestations. The disease of alcoholism has us mistaking self's manifestations as our manifestations, and that's how the bondage of self continues. Yeah. You continue to keep identifying with that which has defeated you. Therefore, you're open up to a defeat. It's just that freaking simple. Yeah. So the inventory is to get an idea. It says here right now on page 64, he jumps in there and he goes, listen, we did exactly the same thing with our lives. They describe it as a business inventory, and now we're going to look at our lives through that lens. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws, FLAWS, in our makeup. Flaws in our makeup does not make them ours. Something can express through our makeup that isn't us. If a parasite would have some control over you, your makeup would be riddled by its manifestations. Yeah. So this is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at that something foreign to us manifestations through our makeup. Yeah. And it says here, when we do this, when we search out these flaws in our makeup, which caused our failure, being convinced that self manifested in various ways was what had defeated us. So basically, the inventory at one point in time, the main thrust that it was presented to be doing is to pointing out that self has defeated us and that us and self are different. Yeah. I don't know where it got lost, where the resentments that are manifestations of self in our lives became ours. I have no idea when that got standardized, but in my community in San Francisco, that's how it was passed on. You are going to look at your resentments, Paul, your fears, your harms to other people in the pursuit of what you want. I think that's a huge mistake. I do. It just reinforces the problem. Yeah. Now, you know the resentment. You come into the inventory process with a mistaken understanding that the self's manifestations are yours, and you leave the process of the inventory with that same misunderstanding in most cases. Yeah. You come in, you go through the car wash of AA, and the biggest stain of all seems to survive, the inventory. And you come and you go home, and now you're talking to people. Oh, I have so many resentments. I never even knew I had a resentment. I have all this fear. No, you don't. The fear has you, and the resentment has you. Yeah. So to me, it's vital. Why would you want the solution to be co-opted to reinforce the problem? Why? Why do you want to look at the manifestations of self and not see them as the manifestations of self? What's the point? Yeah. You know you're fucked, but you're still fucked. What's the point of it? Self-knowledge avails us nothing. Yeah. When self gets knowledge of its manifestations in our lives, it avails us nothing. Us nothing. Yeah. So we like to just put a big wedge in this idea of resentment and and put a big wedge between the word my and resentment and see them both differently. Yeah. See my and see resentment instead of seeing my resentment. because there's a false ownership that's allowing a lot of meaning to be given to the resentment that comes after the word my. You can see it, it's obvious. Resentments, if you don't act upon them, don't have much of a shelf life. But if you're called yours, they can live on you for 60 years. Yeah, they're like a fungus that just grows. You could, the higher power can use the acreage of your garden and put it to better use than just fungus growing. The same old, same old. You can't plant anything new because it's just choked up with old shit. Yeah. So being convinced, believing with certainty that self manifested, it didn't say being convinced that we manifested in various ways is what had defeated us. It doesn't say that. It says self. And I humbly believe probably self is one of the most used worded in this book. Yeah. Especially in the first 164 pages. It's drenched with it. Yeah. I mean, self-will, it's just like resentment. Then you put my in front of it. It changes everything. Same thing with will. You put self in front of it, changes everything. Yes. Pity, self. Centeredness, self-centeredness. It's just insane. So, okay, so we just start doing the inventory and we recognize that self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Let's start having that occur. Let's lead people to recognize self manifested in various ways is what had defeated them. Please. I mean, shit. There's enough we can another groove can be laid down. Yeah. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. If you're being destroyed by resentment, I bet you it's preceded by my. I could almost guarantee it. Yeah. That's why our juice is being used by the head that's playing God to defeat us. That's what it's doing. Yeah. When you believe you're the one needs to quit playing God, that's just more playing God. You're not which is playing God. You're that which is being played by that which is playing God. Obviously. If you're playing God, man, you're doing a fucking bad job of it. Literally. You should just give up the reins and let someone else ride that godlike horse. It's not working. But you're not that which is playing God. It is the head that's playing God. It is. And it's playing God on us. It's using our godlike juice and leaving tons of scars on our ass. So here he goes. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stem all forms of spiritual disease. Now, we was talking to some other members here, and I like the idea that if you could replace the word spirit with soul, let's say a soul sickness, but the idea that spirit can get ill, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it just doesn't. I do not believe there's a spiritual malady. Maybe there is a soul malady or a soul sickness, but I don't think there's a spiritual sickness or a spiritual malady. Now, I don't know what you think soul is. I don't even care. I just want to use it to make a distinction of spirit, yeah, and something else. Because I believe spirit is untouchable, literally. Always available at all times, right where you are, with no requirement to meet it. I do. I don't think I don't see any scars on spirit. It doesn't form anything. It's not a body. I mean, yeah. So when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. What is the spiritual malady, if you want to look at it that way, would be lack of interest, because all the interest is in the mental condition. We're obsessed with this idea of self, and that idea of self is of the mental condition, and there's a lot of obsession around it. So at the expense of all that attention, it feels like there's a weak spirit involved, but it's actually just an over-muscled mental state. And this is why the big changes of recovery happen when you lose interest in self, really. On page 63, they say it beautifully here. Well, they talk about losing interest in self. It opens up all those, all the third step promises and stuff like that. So basically, I think that there's an overabundance of interest in the head at the expense of attention to spirit. Yeah. And if you just lose interest in the head, there'll be a gaining interest in spirit. That's my feeling. That's how it worked with me. So, in dealing with, and then they go through the inventory. And if you're new, I would really look at Joe and Charlie things in the internet. These old two guys, they've passed away, but they used to run a banger of a 4-day seminar on the big book, I felt. And I got so much out of them. I went, the first 3 years, I went to see them, and then I felt like I got enough. But those first 3 years, they really, really helped my understanding on what was going on. And they put out, you can download these 4-column inventory pages and just produce as many as you want. And it's a quite clear way of formalizing the inventory. And if you can do a 4-column inventory, you can do thousands. Yeah. Once you get the principle of looking at the first column, second, and the third, this is the same for all of them. And then the fourth is mostly the same for all of them. You can do as many as you need to do. It's a formula. You just put in the resentment and you get to see your role in things. Yeah. Instead of everyone else's role in things. And it's profound. And I recommend Joe and Charlie. I think they have lots of tapes too. I really do. If you want to, because I had a sponsor that hadn't even done the fourth step really. And he had the best of intentions, but he was as out to lunch as I was. So I needed some guidance. And the first real guidance I got was Joe and Charlie. And then I met my friend Chris is here. I met Cy Payne, and he was my sponsor. So then Cy Payne was awesome. But I got a lot out of the Joe and Charlie stuff. Yeah, and then just if you do the inventory, it leads you to your role in things. And if you really start telling the truth, you're going to see something else's role in things, which is self. Yeah. And you're going to, you'll catch the thief, basically. Yeah. So I think that's it. I wanted just to point that out. I grew up in English, as a language. I feel like I have a certain handle on it. And I can't see that being convinced that self manifested in various ways was what had defeated us. I see a huge difference between self and us in that sentence, to the point that self is foreign to us. Yeah. I don't know how we get confused about that. In one sentence, it's not even it's put in two. There's one, they mention self as what has defeated, and then they mention what's been defeated, which is us. Yeah. So the defeater is self and the defeated is us. That makes us a whole lot different than self, I would say. And we just want to galvanize that difference so that we don't keep falling into the language mistake of owning manifestations of what has defeated us. Yes. Because that will just continue the defeat. Yeah. So let's question the word my. Like they have a joke almost in the book where they talk about you're going to lose interest in self and your little plans and designs. when were your plans and designs little? When obsessed with self. There was always seen as big plans and big designs. Yeah. This is such a proportional, uh, like making mountains out of molehills type proportional uh, house of mirrors. It's nice when they lay it out to by slipping the word little plans and designs instead of big plans and designs. So if anyone wants to share or have any questions about it, please take the opportunity.
Thanks, Paul.
Yes.
You know, I was introduced to Joe and Charlie in Sacramento
Yes.
in 1997.
Wow. It was
And that changed my whole perception. That changed my whole meaning for recovery, and it changed my whole direction as well. And I still use, they gave us little handouts, little packets that had all of the illustrations and all of the pages in the book that they were referring to, and especially that inventory process. And I still use that. I still make copies of that and hand them out in the prisons.
Yes. Hey, they changed a lot of our direction. They did.
Oh, for sure.
Amazing.
And the ownership, the idea of uh me playing, it was me playing God, and it's my, all of that began with my first sponsor uh saying, well, all you need to know about step 2 is that there is a God and it ain't you. And so that planted in my head that it was either me playing God or and that attached that self to me.
Yes. That's the point. See, without knowing it, when we hear things, we hear things through the filter of self. Yes.
Exactly.
But when they describe something, we think it's being prescribed, but it's a prescription, like Kurt said, and not a prescription. So when I hit that thing, you're gonna stop fighting everyone and anything. I thought that, wait a minute, how am I ever gonna pull that one off? Because we unknowingly, what we hear is being put through a filter, a
Exact.
filter
And
of self-centeredness, yes? And therefore, uh, whatever direction we're getting goes through that system. And so we're living a life directed by self-will. And it states it in a humble way that any life directed or run on self-will is hardly going to be a success. And that's a supreme understatement for many of us. Yeah. So first, we just describe some movements of self that were difficult to see. Yeah. And but you felt them. And so when we share it, when we're in this group holding that idea, people can feel it because they felt it. They just didn't have an understanding to capture it because that understanding has been captured already by self. Yeah.
mhm.
Feel it. You can feel like when people would be at meetings and they would feel like, I felt like I was possessed or something, and like an evil intelligence took me over. They were on to something.
You bet.
They were recognizing the foreignness of what was defeating them. But it didn't get standardized. It didn't, and it would just get washed away of like, oh, everything's great, but I'm still fucked. This allegiance to the self in a way. Yes. We can never not pledge allegiance to the self. So this this was just it was revelatory to see that which has defeated. See, I got inklings of it from Joe and Charlie when they talked about the disease. Yeah, I got it. I got a part of that. And I remember the first inventory, first amends that like bushwhacked me. I didn't see it coming, and I wasn't ready or planned to making it. I was hanging out with some people. My friend and I would ride motorcycles, and we had these. He had a girlfriend. I had a hopeful girlfriend. We went to his apartment after a ride, and we went up the stairs. And as we were going up, a lady was coming down, and she had paint all over her pants and stuff, jeans. And we noticed it, that's all. And then we went into his place, and then he forgot something at the bike and went down. And then he came back in and he says, "Hey, my neighbor wants to see you, Paul." And I thought he told her that I'm a house painter and I was going to give her advice. She walks into the little living room and says, "Hello, Paul. Do you remember me?" And I go, "No." She says, "You owe me $500." So I got caught
Boom.
pants down. Really, like my pants got pulled down, and the pride of self, you would think, would have really felt like turning into a raisin, as a grape. But you know what? No, I didn't have any of that shame or guilt because I had a feeling that what I did to her, I would have done to anyone, unless she could have physically stopped me. I had gotten some relief from the idea of the disease. I had. But it was just the beginning of the relief. That's not where it stopped. It was like the first like free sample. Wow. And I made amends to that lady. And every check I sent her, I said, "You're only seeing this because I'm in AA," basically, obviously. Yeah. But the door was open then because I had the feeling, the feeling of being possessed and taken over. But I needed a vehicle to ride in for a while until I got used to the idea. And the vehicle didn't seem to be readily available in the community. It was always about, I'm the one, I'm the cause, and this
Mhm.
and that. And then we just started sharing about it. And I found great relief, really great relief from the bondage of self. As simple as that. Because what would be a bondage of self? Let's say Steve is manifesting through Paul, and every manifestation Steve does through Paul, Paul calls it its manifestation. I would be in the act of being bound to Steve. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So just replace the word Steve with self.
Exactly.
And we are the defeated, the us, and we are not the defeater. And you can see if it goes on for a while, you end up hating yourself. That's fucking insane. Or you're walking around being your worst enemy. That's insane. It's an insane way to
and we hear
start a
it
day.
over and over and over.
Start a day
And
like
people
that.
and everybody in it seems in the meeting says, "Oh yeah, me too."
I know. It's just incredible, really. But all you need is a vehicle and that's an understanding so you get used to it. You have the feeling of what it was like to be defeated by a parasitical movement. Yeah, I mean, thinking I need an exorcism or all this. They were getting close to the idea, really. And just let's take it a little further and recognize alcoholism is what happens when a self-obsession gets extreme. Yes. Alcoholism is unbelievably a sign of an obsession with self, which is really the first addiction. Yeah. The head is addicted to this idea of you. It really is. To a point that it has a coronation of that you and now calls it me. And then you're really swimming without a paddle up the ass or so. Yeah, so I mean, there's let's have some clarity that's standardized so people can fall into that car and by hearing it recognize something that they can't recognize without that standardized car. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, here we are. And the groundwork has been laid, and we've been laying bricks for like 4 or 5 years on the Zoom. Yeah. There you go. Just to see the difference of what has defeated you as not you is, I believe, well, for the problem not to exist for you, it has to be seen as not existing as you, really, I feel. If you want
Well,
the condition to stabilize, you have to see it's not you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel.
and Joe and Charlie didn't really express that clearly.
No.
However, I distinctly remember getting the whole concept from them that one of them at some time or another brought up that sick thinking that creates a problem cannot create the solution. Sick thinking, and they use sick thinking the same way as we identify self.
Yes. Well, selfing, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, in a way, it can pop up here and there. The point is to standardize it.
Exactly.
That's what AA did with a possibility of recovering from alcoholism. They standardized it. They put it in a formulation that could be passed on. And that formulation, if followed, has a very, very good chance of causing a spiritual awakening. Yeah, by doing the steps. And they found that bringing the spirit into the equation would be sufficient enough to keep us sober a day at a time. Yeah. And not
Mm-hmm.
only that, but to thrive in a life free from the bondage of self. And it's true. And therefore, but there was no.
And I don't believe that they found the way. I believe that spirit found the way
For
to
sure.
present, to use them to present
Yeah, I
the
believe that.
formula.
Yes, for sure. Just like we're being used, they were being used.
Exactly.
Yes. But the point is instead of growing into an understanding, you can have an understanding available which you can put your hand in and that glove may fit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then it allows, and then the glove isn't there to emphasize the glove, it's really to emphasize the hand. So you put it in the glove, and the glove now doesn't obsess over being the glove. It actually it's pointing out that you're the hand finally. Yes. Yes. So, yep, here we are.
Another little gem that I've heard along the way is I heard one fella say that he carries his big book around to read directly out of the big book rather than to try to explain. And of course, he illustrates, he uses his experiences to illustrate how
Yes, yes,
the words of the big book
yes,
have presented in his life experience. And he made the statement that he carries his big book and reads directly the words out of the big book Rob, so that if someone that he is working with should misunderstand, they're misinterpreting the words of, well, so that the person that he's carrying the message to is hearing the message out of the big book, not his perception of the message of the big book.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. Well, people now just have it on their phone. Yeah, maybe easier. Worried when someone's walking at me with a book.
And some of us still live in the cave.
Yeah, the big book. Hey, there's so many beautiful ways. We're just here to offer a certain view of the exact nature of the wrong, literally.
Right.
Yeah, I feel there are things that are certain things are best to know in the beginning, not try to find out before the end. Yes, I feel.
You know, it
This
just
point
makes the
is,
path easier.
well, yes, it allows a lot more illumination, I feel. Yeah. So, but let's move on, honey. Let's see.
Okie doke. Does anybody have anything to contribute or to ask? Raise your little virtual hand or start waving. Elvia? Elvia? Elvia?
Elvia, we can't hear you. Gotta.
There we go. Hi, Elvia.
Hi,
This is
Elvia.
my first time sharing at this meeting. I really like what you said about how adding the word self to a word just changes the whole meaning. And I wanted to comment on that first, but also like the third column, speaking of inventory, how it affects my, is that word again, self-esteem, self-confidence, and just adding that like self to these feelings creates a degree of separation.
Yes.
And I'm able, yeah, and that's where like just acknowledging that you can like realize that it was just like attaching yourself or bonding yourself to the self is what caused that initial like pain, discomfort. I just, yeah, it's great. Thank you for doing this and speaking.
There you go. It's more will be revealed, Elvira. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Elvia.
Elvia. Yeah. More's gonna be coming.
Well, I'm seeing hands come up and then going down.
That's good. Well, we used to do a thing, Elvia, in the old days when we would do it in a room and we'd have a chalkboard and we would put three important topics up there: sex, money, and health, let's say. And then we go, everyone just take a look at the words. And then there's a little feeling in, sex, money, and health. And then, all right, we're going to change the word without changing any letter in the word. And then we would just put my money, my health, my sex. Yeah. And then, so we used the example, I wish everyone here to have a lot of money, but I don't want any of you to have any of my money. Yeah. So this is how much of it's a shade of color that erases the color. Yeah. It's sort of like a pigment of yellow that is introduced to every other color that hits the canvas. Yeah, this self-centeredness. And it drenches itself into the meanings that are given in our life. The meaning that's given to things and the things giving us meaning. It's unbelievable, literally. And there'll be problems, but they're going to be different if they're not yours. There's going to be this, but you're going to travel lighter through it if it isn't yours. Yes. So this ownership, that's why we joked in the beginning with Jess. I know Jess, and she's had shorter hair, and now she has beautiful long hair. And people, say, "Oh, you're growing your hair." The person is never growing their hair, are they? They're just not cutting it. That's all. The growth goes on undirected by them. Yes. But language is such a language, and it's like we're chanting in a mental temple, chanting I, me, my all day. And then expecting to travel lighter while we've been chanting I, me, my all day, which is lending heaviness to everything. It's just insane. Yeah, I mean,
I have to digest my food.
that's right. I got to stop early today because I ate a pizza last night and I didn't get to it. So I got to stop and digest. Obviously, that's ridiculous. But then we believe we're doing a much more subtler process, which is thinking, which is mind-boggling. It's a much more subtler process, but we are established in being the thinker of all those thoughts. Isn't that insane? It's insane. I know we're established as the eater of the burrito, but we're not established as the digester of the burrito. But in the head, we're the thinker of the thoughts, and then we get eaten by the thoughts. And a thought can ruin your day if it's preceded by my, for sure. Yeah. My thought can ruin your trip. Really. A thought, not so much, but if it's preceded by my, wow, there's a lot of oomph given to it. Yes, yes. And what's directing or distributing? What's directing the distribution of meaning in your life? It's self, mostly.
Mhm.
It truly is. It's taking the meaning and it gives it to where it wants to give it. And then you react to that meaning, how self sees it. You react to life how self sees it. Yeah. And you end up living an interpretation. And if it goes extreme and you become into a form of addiction, then it's obvious if you get together with people who are being led by the same interpretation, they sure sound like they have your thoughts and your feelings and your reactions to life, because they're shared thoughts, feelings, and reactions to life of the parasite that has taken all of us over. And that parasite is vaguely pointed at with the name self, small s self. Yes? There you go. So the similarities is really what has taken us over. And it blinds us to that, because as I watch people where they're so close to getting that, how could these be my thoughts if everyone has them? And they're right at the cliff. And if I could got my big boot, I would have pushed them over. But they recoil back and oh, yes. It's so wild. It's sort of like forbidden zone. No.
Well,
These are mine. No, they're not actually.
because anything that uh seems to be new is unfamiliar, and that's is always perceived as being uncomfortable. And even though the faults, the known to be faults, um is known to be not true, it's our comfort that we
Well, that's
retreat
why you
to.
have sponsors and stuff. So they
Exactly.
push you when you want to relax. Yeah. Because when it says going to any lengths, that doesn't mean you're going to be asked to go that far. It could be no length at all. Yeah, so that little bit of willingness really goes a long, long way. And familiarity is drowning people. Yeah. Unless you let go of these old ideas, the result will be nil. Hmm. Do you want to try to let go of every old thought, or why not just let go of the thought that you're the thinker? I would go with the latter. Yeah.
Exactly.
You let go of being the if there's a release or a relax at the point of owning the thoughts, you'll have much more relief than going over each thought. You will. You'll lose interest in thoughts, definitely will. Yep, they keep playing, but first of all, one of the greatest moves in our lives as alcoholics is the GPS gets re-owned by a higher power. So
Mhm.
the head will keep telling you to turn left and you don't anymore, which is awesome. It's really one of the biggest cracks of its domain. It likes the control of the GPS because it can't really make a big splash unless it compels you to do something. And we make a lot of decisions based on self that do exactly that. It compels us to do something stupid and then it sets off consequences. So you get drowned on the surface, really. So when you stop listening to it, you're hearing it because you're awake, but you're not listening to it. Its main drive, which is the GPS, the direction giver, is done. It's great. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So this is one of the first big results of recovery is you're not constantly following the directions of the mental GPS. Yeah. You've got to pause. And in that pause, you go past that place where it said turn left. And you see not turning left work better than when you used to turn left. You do. You come to some conclusions that are very significant. That yes.
And the book often refers us to that concept of pausing.
Well, it's a given already. People
Uh-huh.
have a free sample of what it's like to pause, and then they can do it. They it's sort of like what keeps us from knowing things is never entertain the possibility. AA gives you the possibility of a pause. You're going to get a free sample. And then and a lot of people have, and then there's a recognition of a state that happens in recovery, which is called the pause. And now it becomes familiar. Yeah. The new way is now what's familiar to you, not the old way. Yeah. And the new way has a lot of pause in it, for sure. PAUSE.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
And isn't that a part of being open-minded?
Well, the mind is open. You're not open.
Yeah. Ah,
That would be an owning of something. You're
exactly.
not open-minded and you're not closed-minded. The mind is open or the mind is closed. But this idea that it's you that's closed and open, I don't believe.
No.
That's an add-on that says it's before.
That's almost like that. My,
It is. Well, it is.
sure.
It's the doing the same thing. It's emphasizing
It's emphasizing the
and it
doership.
comes later as the doer of something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all emphasis and direction and importance and interest and attention. And it's being wielded by self to reinforce its failed system. AA has a way to produce a change in that condition. Yeah. Just stay on the operating table, don't get up and don't play doctor, and let the action continue. The better way will demonstrate, and there'll be a transfer of faith from the finite self into the infinite, and your life will look better for it. Or the life will look better for it. Yep.
Sure. Christine has had her hand up. a couple times. Christine, you want to come in?
Yeah, hey, Mickey and Paul, sorry about that. Aloha, Paul, thanks for your
Steve,
service.
you took a nice sabbatical, but you're back. Nice to see you.
Really quick, I got to share with you, you said something in your presentation. It kind of it triggered me. This weekend, I called my first sponsor. It's her 15th-year birthday in the program. And so I called her to wish her happy birthday. And she said, oh, I'm not going to AA anymore. I heard I and my and self.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's enriching my spiritual program and all that stuff. And it was so confusing for all, and she said, I don't think it's healthy for me to hear fifth steps, just all these different things. And it's none of my business, but I just want to see if you can share with me a little bit about, like, I just feel so confused. Just feel not confused, but I understand what the selfing looks like, but to see it play out right in front of me in the conversation, I was like, wow. I didn't think I listened to your presentations, Paul, honestly, but I heard my self, the whole conversation. So I'm gonna leave it there and just get your input.
I lost a little bit of but I heard you. Yes. Well, you have the eyes to see, now you're seeing, yeah. And there's more is going to be revealed. And this happens, of course. Like a lot of people, they hit a point where they're not getting anything out of the meetings, so they stopped. And then you'll hear a suggestion, well, what is it that you can bring to it? Maybe that's your purpose, actually, is to bring something to the meeting, not to get something from the meeting. Yeah, and these attitudes, some of them are stubborn. Yeah. And once they get their footing again, they start building their little situation up. And then you start hearing it's about me. I've got to take care of me. And blah, 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 blah. Yes. And all power to them. Uh, I saw in my days when I was really active, because things have changed after the epidemic. I go to live meetings, but usually just with my sponsee, a couple of my sponsees, maybe once or twice a week, or maybe every other week. But I was much more involved in the community back then, and there would be a phenomena of people going out around 20 years. Yes, and one of them was a girl that I went out with when I was first sober, and she was a powerhouse. She had worked with a lot of women. A lot of goodness came through her. She wrote a book on Al-Anon and everything like that. And then, you know, that thing that was, it was there, but hadn't shown its ugly head, came in. And then she went out and she couldn't get it back for 8 years. And she had amassed, she became rich and everything from being sober. And she went to the most expensive places, had sober roommates, sober friends. And it went on for 8 years, 8 years of in and out. She can never get it. And she took her life with pills. She was drinking and too many sleeping pills. And I went to the memorial because I had gone out with her when I was 6 months and she was 3 months. We went out for a year. And I knew her family and her sisters, and they were all happy it was over, really. That's an amazing place to end up, losing a younger sibling or a child, yes? To be happy that it was finally over. Yes. So uh, a lot of people leave groups, they just find other groups. Sometimes people leave our group, they pass away. Yeah, things happen. So it's in a way we joke around a lot, but it's a very serious matter. even the possibility of being taken over by that again would scare the bejesus out of me. Yes. I cannot see myself trying to hustle in my 70s. try, try. It just, I just can't. But you know what? It could happen if that thing got control. It could easily. But yeah. So yeah, you can see the beast. It's nice. It's better than looking from it. It is so much better. Seeing it and looking from it are two different experiences. And so it's great to see it in others if it prevents it from taking you over. Yeah. So yes. I hope she finds whatever she's looking for. I hope. Yeah. Yeah. But it's nice to see you again, hon. Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't see anybody, Paul.
All right. Well, then let's start saying goodbye for I just saw.
Uh-oh, Rico.
All right, come on, Rico. I was just gonna hit Rico.
I can't let Paul get away that easy. Good afternoon, family and friends. Welcome, newcomers. I send you love and life and my heart to yours. Christine, thank you for sharing that experience. I've seen that happen a few times, but a few summers I've been around, and I try to get a lesson from everything instead of judging it. And sometimes I want to share with you that the lesson sometimes is it looks like, in terms of our perception, or sometimes our misperception, it looks like this person's got it going on. I mean, they got it on and popping. And sometimes we think they're really in it, and sometimes they were never really in it. It just looked like it was. So I've seen it both ways. I've seen it all kinds of ways. But the idea for us is to get the lesson, make it a blessing, and keep moving it on and keep it locked into the channel that you remember. We're eligible too for the same experience if we're not aligned. So you called with good intent to wish her well and to celebrate, and she didn't feel like celebrating. You celebrate that God allowed you to experience this so that you can keep moving on without getting on track. So it's really a lesson and a blessing for you. And I appreciate you sharing it. So thank you for letting me be here.
Thanks, Rico.
You know, in a way, the car always remains the same, but it's going to look a whole lot different with a different driver. Yeah, the driven's going to look seemingly the same, and in time it won't. But the importance is really of the driver. Yeah, be clear about what's driving you. And you can know it by its manifestations, you know, as Jesus says, you'll know the tree by the fruit. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you. Oh, we have
Now, Christine C has her hand up, Paul.
Christine. All right.
Morning, friends, afternoon, or whatever's happening where you're at. So I feel compelled to ask a question about the titling on the step 4 inventory column.
Yeah.
So in column 4, I've always been told very emphatically by my sponsorship line to use my fault, right? Because a lot of my part, I was told a lot. My fault. Now, taking into consideration what you're saying with the when we attach the my, it shifts things. What do you suggest, or what do you find useful in naming that fault column?
Well, what I do, if first of all, look at it and to see your role in things. Yes. Yeah. And then hopefully fill it out and be accountable, do the amends and everything like that. And maybe, just maybe, take another look at it when you look at your role in things, and you'll see self's role in things. Yes? Yes. And instead of, and then people would say, well, that would be a spiritual bypass. No, you've done the amends, you've done everything, yeah, as if they were yours. But now you realize you were only accountable because you were used for the crime to occur. You did not commit the crime. Something used you. Yes? So you get a very clear difference between what our head feels when it feels responsible than accountable. Okay? Now you go back and now you see self's role in things. And you'll see that it's a massive one. Yeah. If you're driven, that implies you're not the driver. It's stated very clearly in the book. We are driven by 100 forms of stuff. Yes. What is the driver of that? Not you. You're the driven. Yeah. So you've been used for transportation. Yeah. And this is, I can get into a long thing, but I'll try to make it shorter. I got about responsibility. When I was young, I was overtly responsible for everything. Like if I walked into a room and someone yawned, I thought it was because of me. Yes. And I remember my father got very ill when I was 6, and my mother and the family doctor sat me down and told me that his relationship with me would look different because he wasn't going to take me to play baseball and stuff like that. Yes. And I listened to it and I understood what they were saying. But what I felt was, what did I do to cause my father not to want to play with me? See, this is an overt, blown up responsibility. And I think most of us felt saddled by it. So my drive for relief was to be as irresponsible as possible. So now we come back into recovery and we become responsible again. And I feel like it's gotten overguarded. Yes, like I can't admit anything other than my responsibility because it would be just like what I was doing in the past. Yeah, I understand that, but I feel it's a paper tiger, literally. I do. Yes. So you're afraid that you're that's a form of slick irresponsibility. No, you look at your role. I made the amends based on it was me doing it. Yeah, but I'm not going to live under that idea anymore. I'm going to see that self is what has defeated me. Self used me as transportation. Yes, because I'm definitely not doing what I used to do. And there's still a lot of doing, but I'm not doing what I used to do. And the car hasn't really changed, but the driver has. Yeah. So and it seems like many people are so easily into gratitude about the higher power doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. They find it's just natural. Yes, I honor this. I'm in awe of it, gratitude. But they can't apply that to a lower power that did through you what you would never have done by yourself. Yeah, there's no balance in the accountability. We're taking all the blame for the shit and we're trying to give all the credit for the good. I think the blame doesn't land on us. I don't. I humbly don't. And I think it's an obsession with self to take that blame of being the cause of a lot of shit you were compelled or directed to do. And you had no say in the fucking matter. Yeah. So this is like a weird martyrdom I'm not into at all. Yeah. So, yeah, look at what you did and then realize what drove you to do it. And you'll see all the shit that you did, you played a minor role. That which drove you to do it played the biggest role. And it's being hid in plain sight by our ignorance or our misunderstanding. Yeah, I've had enough of it, literally, in myself and in others in the program, literally. I just don't see how you can be a member of the choir of gratitude and yet be the one that's been the convicted felon on the other side. I mean, Jesus, you were driven both ways. Yeah. Why do you find easiness to be grateful by the new driver, but owning all the shit that the old driver took you to? That's just, to me, is one of the main characteristics of the parasitical movement. It has the host believing it's the parasite. Yes. Why? Because then the parasite doesn't have to contend with the host. All the host promises that it can be free from a parasite, it's been neutered. You're trying to be free as the parasite. the host likeness of you is your true value. It's neutered that by being identified as the parasite. If you saw that you were the host and not the parasite, you could walk away from the fucking parasite. But because we're identified as the parasite, we've lost the greatest quality of the host, which is it's not the parasite. Yeah. This is the abject faith in the God of reason. It is a spiritless servility. Yeah. And it's time, and not seeing the role of self in the fourth column is lending itself to a spiritless servility. Yeah. You're still bound by the thing that bound you. Yeah. So, yeah. If people who acted a certain way and took it to be all them showed an incredible brilliance of light, I would fucking bow down to them, but they don't. They share and then they are reminded of a 40-year-old thing that they did. I'm so fucking tired of being run by the past. Yeah. If they were brilliant in light, I would fucking bow down to them. I don't want what they have in a lot of form. I don't. I don't want to have an umbilical cord that's pulsating every day from the past. I'm not into it. Yeah. I'm not into it. Yeah. Today does not remind me of a past day. It doesn't. Today doesn't remind me of fucking anything. It's today. Yeah. The head loves to conjure up shit constantly based on you were the doer of things that it compelled you to do 50 years ago, to rain on every parade that you may enter every new day. Jesus Christ. Do I want the game of my life to be based on its weather conditions? The head? Do I? The biggest series of my life will be rained out over and over and over again. Like that robbery doesn't. Why are you tithing to the robber? Why are you tithing to the robber? I'm super afraid I'm going to get squished, so I'll just feel uncomfortable all day and complain about it with the hopes that I will keep the big squishing away. That's a fucking insane logic to me. Yes? You know? I'll put on the cuffs anyway. I don't like the way life puts on the cuffs, so I'll just wear the handcuffs. You know, I'll get used to it. I can still get the what an insane condition. I feel. I mean, oh, it's nothing's going to change. I'll just make the best of it. I hate when life handcuffs me, so I'll just wear a pair of handcuffs all the time. To me, that's not a solution.
Or like how Kurt used to, or I remember him once saying, we exchanged those rusted iron handcuffs for some gold-plated
Yes, sure.
handcuffs.
Yes, 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 yes. I get, people think they have to whisper about freedom. They don't want to be overheard, So it's like a giant foot sitting on us. Yeah, I can go on and on. I just don't. How are you going to not shut the door on the past nor regret it if you think you were the doer of it all? There's no way in hell you can get to a complete forgiveness as being the doer because you did some terrible fucking shit. Or you didn't do stuff that you should have done, let's say. There's no way fucking out if you're in that dilemma that this is my past. You're gonna regret it and you're gonna try to keep the door shut on it. Yeah. And it says in the book, you will not regret it nor shut the door on it. Well, I feel that's the only way that can really stabilize is seeing it isn't you that was You were not the cause of it. You were used as an effect. Yes. I do. I don't see it working any other way. People would think you were fucking psychotic if you didn't regret some of the shit. That's part of the fabric of our fucking society, to have remorse and regret, so we're not all fucking ripping everyone's throats out just for the fun of it or something. Yeah. So there would be it's a built-in thing to regrettable shit. It gives you a sense of something. Yeah. Yeah. But this idea that you're going to be the doer of all that, but don't regret it, that's called a sociopath, I think, or a psychopath. I don't think that's being of maximum use. I don't know, maybe. I don't think my becoming a psychopath was the plan, but who knows? All right, we got to go, I think. We don't have to go. I think I have to go. Hey, thank you, Christine. Yes, I hope that helped. Yes. There's a fear of not being responsible because so much we tended to want to be completely irresponsible. Yeah, I felt and then therefore it feels like that's a scary thing not to be responsible. But I'd say humbly, just get over it, literally. Yeah. All right. So we got Roxanne. Nice to see you, honey. As always. Mickey, the eternal greeter. Jessel. Keep growing your hair, Jess. Yeah. Ruby Rose. I saw you growing your hair in the talk. Yeah, I saw it. Ruby Rose, our one missionary in Kansas. Well, you're doing a great job. We'll send a care package to you. Yeah. Gluten-free biscottis. I don't think they probably have gluten-free biscotti in Kansas. I don't know, maybe. Mitesh, Kay, Matthew. We're both sober, Matthew, yes? Fantastic. Marilyn in Tallahassee. At night, in the day. Nice to see you. Chris, as always, in the Boston area. Betty in Nevada. Miak in Belmarine Keys. I'm looking out the door. Rick Rowe in Toronto. Rico Cruz. I thought he was on the East Coast, but he's a wise East Coaster. He's on the West Coast. Yeah. Sean C. We got some East Coasters coming today. That'll be fun. Walter, the brother of another mother. Teresa, nice to see you, Teresa. Cormac. How did I know he was from Ireland? I don't know.
Do anything weird, guys.
Cormac was a nice little. We got Honesty. Dana. Always a pleasure, Dana. Remember, you're a lifetime member of Zen Bitch Lab. Yeah. Christine, listening. Michael Stacy, my man in Madeira. Sean, Joseph in France, Lebowski, John Adams. Wow, Lebowski. I gotta watch The Big Lebowski again soon. Yeah. I always picture you in that bathrobe in the supermarket.
Styling.
If you need money, I'll send you some, James.
Okay.
I want you to have an abundance of half and half.
I mean, you gotta have it. Well, I'm getting sick of writing bad checks for it, that's for sure.
John Adams, nice to see you, John. Vlad, as always. Mr. Christian, I had the privilege of sponsoring him. I think I'm sponsoring in some kind of symbolic way. Let's go to page 2. We've got Oliver in Berlin. He's been with us all the way. Miss Volkman. Always a pleasure to see Miss Volkman. I think we got everyone. Hey, thanks. Have a good day today, eh? And we'll see each other soon, I hope. We'll be back on Saturday. And great. Thank you, Mickey, and
Thanks,
everyone.
Paul.
Yep.
Thanks for your love and service, Mickey.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul.
Good to see you guys. Thanks, Paul.
Namaskar.
Good to see you,
Thanks,
Jay.
Paul.
Yes. Thank you. It's good to see you too. I was missing you.
Michael.
Hey, Rick, I'll hit you up in a while. I got to ask you something.
All right. Good to see everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Everybody have a beautiful day unless you have other plans. And Mickey, I don't care what they say about you. I love you, girlfriend.
Love you too, Rico.
All right. See you.
And Michael Stacy, my man. He's gone. All right.
Yeah.
Amy, Big Mike, Miss Volkman, Oliver.
I'm
Carl.
here, man.
Oh, you guys have a beautiful day.
You too, Rico.
If you guys want to chat, I'll just make Leanne a host. I have to scoot. I have an appointment coming up.
Well, I guess I'm also getting out. I have to eat something.
You better get to eating, girl.
You guys have a good day. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Mickey, as always.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Much love to
Thank
you up there
you.
in Madeira.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you
Wonderful
all.
job.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.